Startup Street. Now, micro-lending platform iFinance has raised 15 million euros or about 137 crore rupees in debt funding. The company says this fresh infusion is going to help them strengthen their ability to provide financial support to underserved MSMEs across India. They'll also be used for on-lending to these businesses. To give us a sense of where the company is at with its active client base of 4.5 lakh micro enterprises and AUM over 4,000 crores and what next is the company's MD and CEO Sanjay Sharma. Sanjay, thanks very much for your time here on CNBC-TV18. Briefly tell us about this 137 crores that you raised. Of course, for a lender, it is normal course of business to raise debt to then on-lend it. But how exactly are you going to deploy this for your growth? Sanjay, you're on mute. If you could unmute yourself.
Thank you, and good evening to all of you. We raised a 15 million euro debt from an organization which is invest in visions. And there's a lot of consonance with them. iFinance, as you mentioned, provides working capital loans to very small and unorganized businesses right across India. And in doing so, it helps them transform themselves into more competent organizations. And Invest in Vision also wants to help create impact by providing working capital loans to small businesses. So there's a meeting of minds, and we raised 15 million euro at a very good rate. This will help us keep growing our book. I think we disburse almost close to 500 crores in a single month. So this money will very quickly get used. And this is part of our ongoing efforts to raise debt and equity when needed.
Okay, so, keeping that in mind, now you've crossed an AUM of 4,000 crores, as we understand, with these new funds and the kind of 500 crores of monthly disbursements you're talking about. Where do you see your AUM by the end of the year? What sort of growth rate are you anticipating?
Yes, I think we ended this financial year at a 4,400 crore AUM. And I think the next year we will continue to grow at a 50% growth rate. So we'll be closer to the 6,000 or 6,500 crore mark. And since we give small loans, this translates to a very large number of micro enterprises. We today have close to 450,000 micro enterprises that we have lent to. And I think next year this number will probably climb up to closer to 700,000.
But Sanjay, could you give us a sense of what your market share in this MSME lending market would be like currently?
In the micro enterprises, which are unorganized, I think our market share could be very large compared to the market lending, because there are very few companies that loan money to people without security of property, etc. So if you look at that, then we might be a dominant player already. But when you look at the percentage share against the total market that exists, then we may not have even crossed 1% of the market.
Sanjay, but lending without security is the whole idea behind the government's MSME lending schemes that have been announced in the last few years. But let me come back to iFinance. You said 500 crores last month and you've crossed 10,000 crores in loans now. What about the year ahead and the full year's revenue and profits that would translate to on the back of this growth?
Yeah. I think it's very important for finance companies to stay profitable. And I think we have been profitable for a period of time. This year also, we delivered a return on equity of almost 18%, which is quite a handsome return on equity for our investors. Next year, as we grow to, as I mentioned, 6,500 crores, we will have a revenue of almost close to 1,800 crores. And we plan to deliver a return on equity of closer to 20%. So I think that is in a sense, the top line numbers.
Okay. But, your disbursements for the year, if you're doing 500 crore every month, are you looking at a 6,000 crore sort of a disbursement target for the year? More?
No, I think we will moderate it down. March is always a wonderful month for most financial companies. But we will, I think the next year, we should be disbursing close to about 4,000 to 4,500 crores of fresh disbursements.
Okay, my bad. I was saying 3,000 crores, not 6,000. But yeah, 4,000 crores is the target. But, we have to ask you, we ask you this every time. You told us about your plans to take, the company public by FY26. I'm wondering with the kind of growth rate that you're speaking of, could those plans get advanced, or rather, if you could outline for us what the milestones you're looking to cross would be before you actually take the company public?
I think our plans getting advanced is unlikely.
Okay.
I think we're doing well. We have a good track record. Last 2 years or 3 years have been good. Very good numbers have come out from the business. We want to get into an IPO when we have at least 6,000 to 7,000 crore AUM, and with a return on equity of closer to 20%.
Okay.
And a profit of closer to 500 crores for that year when we do an IPO. So it has to be a substantial enough player in the market. Otherwise, the financial market can get very crowded with smaller players.
Well, you're not too far off from those targets that you outlined, but a quick word on your customers as well. You claim to have about 4.5 lakh active customers at the moment. What is the rate at which you're adding customers monthly, annually, and any trends that you're seeing, whether these customers are borrowing similar amounts, whether ticket sizes have increased, or, any major trends to outline?
See, we have, since inception, given loans to probably closer to 9 lakh customers, but we have active base of about 450,000 customers. And these customers are those small enterprises which could be in manufacturing, which could be in trading, service, so all the sectors. We find that a lot of times we are asked that, that is there a stress in the market? Are these unorganized enterprises doing fine? And we found that there is an active demand. We find that the typical gross NPA levels have been stable. We deliver very attractive gross NPA levels of below 3%. So I think we have not seen that change over the last 2 or 3 years since COVID. And I think, therefore, we believe that there is demand. The last year has been a most wonderful year, I would say. It's a magical year. And I think we hope to continue that magic into this year.
But I don't know if RBI is that excited about all of this, given that they've publicly expressed some concerns about overheating in the economy. How are you being mindful of that? How has your portfolio performed?
RBI is mindful of unsecured lending to like personal loans, etc. The lending that we do is to businesses. And I think these are businesses that have for a long time been starved of any finance. So it's natural that you'll see good growth here. But we have been careful, given RBI's orientation. We have taken extra care to make sure that no processes are compromised. And last year, we delivered almost a 50% growth, which for our scale is actually quite a moderated growth. Otherwise, we were growing at almost 70-80% earlier.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting to hear. But Sanjay, that's all the time we had, unfortunately, today. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for your time.
Good speaking to you. Thank you.
All right, moving on. There are now more